All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at assistive technology specifically for folks who are visually impaired.
Very cool.
We've got this fascinating document all about something called TapSight, and it's really piqued my interest.
I can see why.
It's like this proposed device, handheld, using Braille, but get this. The idea is to give users two-way communication and control over their other devices.
Like what kinds of devices?
Even potentially tapping into the internet.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, super ambitious. And what's really cool is it's not just aiming to be a reading aid.
Right.
You know, like helping folks read Braille, which is obviously important.
Of course, yeah.
But the creators, they're shooting for something much bigger here.
Like a whole system.
It's like a whole personal communication and control system, all within this tiny Braille interface.
That's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Totally. And, you know, we've got those Braille e-readers out there now.
The ones that have been making some waves.
Yeah. Definitely groundbreaking, no doubt.
For sure.
But they've got their limitations, right?
In what sense?
Well, for one, they can be expensive. And then they're kind of bulky.
Yeah, I see your point.
Not exactly something you just slip into your pocket on the go.
Right. So more specialized use cases then.
Exactly. And then you've got devices like the finger reader or the Braille interpreter.
I've heard of those, yeah.
They're cool because they can read printed text aloud.
Oh, that's neat.
Which is super helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But they really lean on audio feedback, you know?
Makes sense for those types of devices.
And I was thinking that might actually hinder...
Hinder how?
Well, someone's ability to develop other crucial skills.
Oh, interesting point.
Like spelling or grammar.
Yeah, okay.
Even typing, those tactile skills.
I hadn't thought about that.
It's something the TapSight folks seem to be addressing, though.
How so?
By kind of like minimizing the audio reliance.
Interesting approach.
And putting more emphasis on the tactile, that hands-on interaction.
Oh, I like that. So less passive, more engaging.
Exactly. So let's get to what TapSight actually is, right?
The big reveal. I'm ready.
Picture this.
Okay, I'm picturing.
My name is Alessia, and I would like to talk to you today about something that is really important, really serious, and has gone for far too long. Did you know that in the United States, approximately 70% of blind people are unemployed? This is a statistic which shouldn't be. We all know about Braille and seeing eye dogs, but this is outdated and offers little in the way of true independence. Many blind children can't even read Braille. And as we all know, literacy is the most basic key to success, even with great leaps forward in technology. Advancements in aid for the visually impaired has lagged far behind at best. We here at TapSight aim to alleviate this gap and bring us from the age of audio text, other quick fix gadgets and seeing eye dogs into an age where the blind can live truly independent lives. This will be accomplished by a handheld communication device, allowing the blind to interact with the world around them, including tablets, cell phones, and traffic signals, just to name a few. Some of the advantages of using TapSight are: using TapSight's method of two-way character data transmission, enabling users to participate in active internet-based social life, including email and texting. Fits comfortably in one hand, wireless capability, controller for interfacing with electronic devices and software. TapSight makes it easy to learn Braille. The TapSight portable wireless device will accomplish this by using TCS or TapSight character streaming technology, which employs data transmission with software-activated keys in a simple Braille matrix, which will greatly broaden the horizon for the visually impaired. TapSight, the main view and details. Power button, Mode buttons and Select button, USB cable, USB power, charger firmware, apps device interface. TapSight keys. The method of two-way character data stream transmission using 4 TapSight software activated keys. Adjustable speed of character generation on the TapSight keys. TapSight.
A miniature device, handheld,
Okay, so it's small.
wireless, of course.
Gotta be wireless these days, right?
And with just 4 keys.
4 keys, that's it.
These are like software-activated keys.
Oh, so they can be programmed for different functions.
Exactly. Kind of like the keys on your phone, but programmable.
That's smart.
Plus some mode buttons.
Makes sense.
So you can switch between functions.
Okay, I'm following.
And it's designed to fit comfortably in your hand.
Gotta be ergonomic for sure.
Recharges via USB, easy peasy.
Well, that's convenient.
So that's the basic hardware, right?
Seems pretty slick so far.
But the real magic is how it works.
I bet.
They've got this patented technology called TapSight character streaming.
Okay, now we're getting technical. Break it down for me.
Imagine like a continuous flow of Braille characters being translated into digital signals back and forth.
Wow, two-way communication.
It's this two-way data stream allowing users to not just receive info, but also send it back in real time.
Real time, that's huge.
Yeah, I know.
So what does that actually mean for someone using this?
Well, it means they can do things like email
in Braille,
texting, all using Braille.
That's amazing. It opens up so much.
Seriously, and that's where it gets even more exciting.
Lay it on me, I'm hooked.
The document talks about all these potential applications for TapSight, and it's mind-blowing.
You're really selling this. I'm excited to hear more.
They're talking about controlling your
Wait, what?
your PC, even game consoles.
No way.
All through this little device.
That's next level.
Right.
Like, seriously next level.
And then it could be this revolutionary tool for learning Braille.
Oh, that's cool.
Maybe even with interactive games and feedback.
So it's educational, too.
Yeah. And they're exploring voice commands.
Voice commands.
For navigation, internet searches.
Now that's interesting.
I mean, how would that even work on a device mostly for touch?
That's a great question. I was curious about that, too.
The document doesn't get into specifics on that yet.
Fair enough. It's still early stages, right?
But just the fact they're thinking about it suggests they're aiming for something truly multimodal.
Multimodal meaning like
catering to different user preferences and needs.
Gotcha. So not just one size fits all.
Exactly. So we've got this device.
Okay, let's recap.
It could revolutionize Braille literacy.
Huge if it does that.
Give users unprecedented control
over their digital lives.
Then maybe even incorporate voice commands.
We're talking potential game changers here.
For sure. When you first looked at this stuff, what jumped out at you?
You know, for me, it's the sheer ambition. Like, they're trying to tackle the limitations of current assistive tech, but in such a holistic way.
It's not just incremental improvement, right?
It's not tweaking what we have. It's aiming to fundamentally change how visually impaired folks interact with the world, both online and offline.
That's a great point. I mean, think about e-readers.
Yeah, the ones everyone's familiar with.
But now imagine one designed specifically for Braille.
That is pretty revolutionary when you think about it.
But portability is a big issue with the Braille ones we have now, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Hard to picture using those every day like you would a regular e-reader.
Right. They're just not integrated into daily life that easily.
Exactly.
But the TapSight team, they seem to have prioritized portability from the get-go.
I'm seeing that, yeah.
They're talking about wearing it on a belt.
Wow.
Maybe even as a bracelet.
So it's like always there, accessible.
That kind of go-anywhere accessibility, that could be truly liberating, don't you think?
I totally agree.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why, but let's get into the how, the design of this thing.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
This source material, it includes some really cool sketches.
Oh, I love visuals.
But they raise more questions than answers.
Ooh, intriguing.
You've got them right there. What strikes you?
Okay, let me see. First thing, this curved shape. Almost like it's made to be worn, right?
I was thinking the same thing.
And look, they even have notes here about materials for the casing, how the keys might give tactile feedback.
Like peeking behind the scenes of the design process.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. All these little details they're thinking about.
And there are these 4 main keys, but the document doesn't exactly say how they'll be arranged.
Interesting.
I'm looking at the sketch here and I'm like, how would my fingers even naturally fall on those keys?
Yeah, good question. It's not immediately obvious, is it?
Not really. What do you think?
Well, they actually address that in the document.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they even pose some specific questions about it, like what's the optimal button arrangement and how will character flow even work?
So they're aware of that challenge.
It seems like they're really grappling with fitting a lot of functionality into this small space.
Makes sense. Oh, and then there's that thumb button.
Yeah, what about that one?
What do you think it does?
I was thinking maybe it acts like a shift key on a keyboard.
Like giving you access to a whole other set of functions or characters?
That's what I was thinking, especially if they're trying to keep the number of physical keys down.
Right, keep it streamlined.
And it could be used for navigation too, I bet. Scrolling, menus, that kind of thing.
Ooh, yeah, good point. I'm trying to picture myself using this, like, say I want to send an email.
Okay, walk me through it.
Do I, like, type the whole thing out, letter by letter, in Braille? Or could there be, like, predictive text, like we have on our phones now?
That's a great point. And they do mention downloadable apps.
Oh, right. So that could be a possibility.
Yeah, I think predictive text, maybe even speech to text, could totally be on the table.
That would be so cool.
It all comes down to how they design that two-way character data stream, how it handles those complex inputs and outputs.
Right, right. And speaking of which, remember how you mentioned the document doesn't get into the details of voice commands? But imagine if they could integrate that seamlessly. Wouldn't that be incredible?
Oh, absolutely. It would add a whole new dimension of accessibility.
Imagine dictating an email, searching the web, getting directions, all through voice, but still having that Braille feedback for reading and navigating.
You would make the device even more versatile.
For sure. And, this document is all about TapSight, but it really gets you thinking about the future of assistive tech in general.
Oh, totally. Where is it all headed?
What excites me is they're not just focusing on one problem, they're coming at it from all angles.
I see that, like a more holistic approach.
Exactly. Ergonomics, portability, even the social and psychological impact of connecting with the world in a deeper way.
Right. It's not just about functionality, it's about the whole experience.
They're thinking about it all. It's not just replacing existing tools, it's opening up whole new possibilities for education, employment, social interaction.
Exactly. I mean, imagine visually impaired folks being able to participate more fully in online communities, engaging with digital art and literature, maybe even pursuing careers that just weren't accessible before.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it like that.
It is. It really broadens the horizon.
I'm really glad you brought up the social aspect, because for me, that's one of the most exciting parts of this whole concept.
Your connection piece, yeah.
Yeah. We often think about assistive tech as individual empowerment, which is so important. But what about fostering connection and community?
Right, exactly. It's not just about individuals. It's about building bridges.
Technology can be this powerful tool for breaking down barriers and making things more inclusive. And if TapSight can help bridge that gap between the visually impaired community, the wider digital world, that's huge.
Absolutely. It could be a real game changer in terms of social inclusion.
Okay, before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, let's bring it back to the device itself.
Back down to earth.
Yeah. The document does a good job of highlighting the potential benefits, but it also acknowledges there are challenges.
There always are, right?
You mentioned earlier how that technology behind the character data stream needs to be perfected.
That two-way communication, yeah.
What challenges do you see there? Is it bandwidth, processing power?
It's probably a mix of both, honestly.
Yeah.
They need that data transmission to be fast and reliable.
Especially for real-time things, like browsing the web.
Exactly. And they need to do all that while keeping the device small, portable, and affordable.
There's that word again, affordable.
This always comes up, doesn't it?
Cost is a huge factor with assistive tech. Always has been.
For sure.
The document mentions how TapSight's simple design could lead to lower production costs.
That makes sense.
So it could be more accessible to more people. But is that going to be enough?
That's the million-dollar question. Even with the best intentions, cost can be a major barrier.
It's not just the upfront cost either.
Right. There's maintenance, software updates, repairs.
It all adds up. They've got to find a way to make this sustainable in the long run.
Absolutely. Sustainability is key.
So, to recap, we have this amazing concept with the potential to, totally revolutionize how visually impaired people interact with the world.
It's got a lot of promise, that's for sure.
But there are some real hurdles to overcome, technical and financial. What do you think is the biggest challenge they face?
Bridging that gap,
between
between the innovation and making it actually accessible.
Yeah, yeah.
They've got this incredible vision, but making it real, not just technologically advanced, but affordable too.
Right.
That's a tough one.
It is, it is. And there's something else to think about too, user adoption.
Ooh, good point.
Will people actually embrace this new way of interacting with tech?
It's a big shift.
It might require a whole mindset change, not just for visually impaired folks.
But for developers too, right?
Exactly. The people making the apps, the content.
It's not enough to just build the device.
Yep.
You need that whole ecosystem around it.
Totally.
Developers making apps that work with it.
Accessible apps, yeah.
Content creators thinking about tactile experiences.
That's interesting.
Maybe even educators using it in the classroom.
So it becomes part of the fabric of how we learn and interact.
It's almost like a paradigm shift.
It really is. I mean, we're so used to screens.
Everything's visual these days.
It's hard to imagine designing for touch as the primary way to experience things.
Right.
But I think that's where the real excitement is. Pushing those boundaries, finding new ways to connect with information, with each other.
You know, while we've been talking, I keep thinking about how TapSight could change how we think about disability in general.
Oh, in what way?
What if, instead of focusing on what people can't do, we start thinking about different abilities?
Flipping the script, huh?
Design tech that celebrates those differences.
So it's not about overcoming limitations. It's about embracing different ways of being.
And creating a more inclusive world for everyone.
It's a beautiful thought. I love that. The power of tech, not just to solve problems,
right,
but to change how we see things, what we think is possible.
It can be really transformative if we use it that way.
Wrapping up our deep dive into TapSight today.
Yeah, this was a fascinating one.
I'm left feeling so inspired. There's so much potential here, not just for the visually impaired community, but for all of us.
I agree. And I think this document, it's a good reminder that innovation, it often comes from addressing the needs of those who've been overlooked.
The people we don't always design for.
Exactly.
And who knows what other amazing innovations are out there just waiting to be discovered.
Well, that's the exciting part, isn't it? Always more to explore.
So to our listener, I'm curious, what resonated most with you about TapSight? What possibilities did it spark for you? Keep those questions in mind, because even though our deep dive ends here, your own exploration, that's just beginning.